Hi, kindergarten. It's Miss Veronica, and we have another art lesson today. And this one is about sculptures. And I want to talk to you about a specific sculptor, which is somebody who creates sculptures. And a sculpture could be anything that you make out of Play-Doh when you mold something and you make a shape out of it, or maybe you make an animal. A sculpture can be really tiny. And a sculpture can be really, really big as your whole house. So the sculptor, person who makes sculptures that I want to talk to you about is named Alexander Calder. And Alexander Calder makes sculptures so big that they could be as big as your whole house, big giant sculptures. And the sculptures that he makes have really, really bright colors. Sometimes they're bright red or bright blue. All right, and they're really, really interesting, and I would like for us to make some of our own. Now, I don't think we're going to be able to make some that are as big as our whole house, but we can make some with bright colors that look kind of like the sculptures he makes. So I'm going to show you an example of what those look like. And I made a couple already. All right, and let me show you here kind of with a surface. Okay, so all of his sculptures are standing on their own. See that? So when you place it down, it doesn't fall down on the side, right? So we're gonna make some that do that exact same thing. And we're gonna do it together. I made another one here. A couple examples so you can see they have all different shapes, all different bright colors. And we fold the paper and make some cuts with our scissors to make these shapes stand up. And I did another one here in orange. All right, so imagine these sculptures as big as your whole house. That's what Alexander Calder makes his sculptures like, big, giant, bright color sculptures. And they're in big cities, and then you see them and it makes you feel happy. Really, really interesting sculptures. All right, you wanna try some? I do. All right, so this is our example. I would like for you to get some paper. It could be construction paper, like this, colored paper, or it can be regular paper. If you're doing it with regular paper, just white paper or even notebook paper, you can use that, and you can also color it with your markers. You can make designs on it too, so it stands out really bright, just like his. All right, and the first thing I want you to do is fold your paper in half. Fold the paper in half. And then once we have that paper folded, we're gonna find out where the middle of the paper is, right? So if I fold it, right here, that fold, that's the middle. And we're gonna cut towards the fold, but I don't wanna cut it all the way off, okay? So let me show you what I mean. If I take a cut very carefully with my scissor handling, and I start on the outside where the paper flips open, and I cut towards the inside where the paper is folded, but I don't cut it all the way through. All right, and I like to start from the bottom edge, that flat surface, because these are gonna be the legs on the bottom. All right, so I'll show you and it'll come together. I'm gonna do two as an example so we get the idea. All right, so if we start down here and I start to cut up, maybe I wanna do it kind of like a square shape or a rectangle shape. So maybe I'll just make a corner, and then I'll come over towards the middle, but not all the way that I'm gonna cut it, right? And then maybe I do another one. Maybe I do a different line. Maybe I go rounded this time. Rounded towards the center. And then maybe I do another one that's a square shape or a rectangle. Right towards the center. All right, and then once I have that, I can start to open it up. And when I open it up and I fold the paper, I want to try to make it so it stands up. Do you think it'll stand up there? Not quite. Doesn't quite have enough stability. So what do we need to do? We need to fold these in a couple different directions. The more directions that you fold your paper, the more stable it's going to feel. Okay, so let's try it. Maybe this one goes over here. Maybe this whole thing folds back a little bit. Maybe that folds a different direction. And this one comes this way. All right. And then these top ones can also fold different directions. These big legs right here. And there's not an exact right or wrong answer. You can play with it and see what's going to stand up and what's not so much. All right, so now we're talking. Now it's going to stand up. All those legs are going different directions. Imagine, again, one of these sculptures as big as your whole house, like the ones that Alexander Calder makes. All right, let me try another one. I'm going to show you one other way that we can do it. Put this one over here. So same thing. We're going to fold our paper in half. And this time we're going to make one a little bit smaller. So I'd like you to fold the paper in half. And then we're actually going to cut this one in half. Okay? So after we fold it, you're just going to find a point about halfway, almost as if you were going to fold it again, right? Halfway through. It doesn't have to be perfect. It can be a little bit more or a little bit less. And we're just going to cut this all the way through this time. So this one's going to be a little smaller. So I'm cutting all the way through the paper. And this is what my paper looks like. Kind of like a card or a book. Okay? And then I'm going to make those legs a little smaller this time. Again, I'm going to start at the bottom. And I'm going to cut up and over. All right, very careful with my scissors. I'm going to cut up and over. All right, and then maybe this one. Maybe I'll go curved again. Maybe on the bottom I go another square shape. You can see kind of what I'm doing there a little better. And right here. Okay, and then when I open it, again, maybe I'll have these go wide like this, and then maybe I'll have another one coming over this way, fold one going this way, and if you have them going different directions, we get a little bit more stable. There we go, and then let me get a flat surface here, and it stands up. All right, and if you realize it's not standing up, then you can fold a couple different directions and see if you can fix it so it will stand up. And those are your sculptures, just like the ones by Alexander Calder. All right, thank you guys. I can't wait to see you for your next lesson, and I will see you soon. Have a good rest of your day.